Oh, all right. Well, hello everybody. Welcome to our 12th live show this year for College Football Corner. I'm Cooper. It's just me right now. We'll see if CJ or Trent pop in tonight. It's been a busy night, but I apologize for being a little bit late. But we're gonna go ahead and start this thing, and we got a big show for you tonight. We've got reactions from last week, big crazy week. We've got previews for this week. I'm going to pick some of the games from this week. A little weaker of a slate than last week and a couple of the previous weeks, but still a solid week. We've got college football playoff rankings to go over. We've got my college football playoff rankings to go over. College football corners official poll. We've got a Heisman list to go over that I made that we're going to go over, and we're going to go over a notable hiring this week that you might have saw. So, big night tonight. So strap in, get some popcorn, get a soda, and we're going to go over this together. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Y'all been doing great with that. This has been getting some good traction. So make sure to keep doing that. Comment or put anything in the chat if you want to as we go along. So just make sure to do that, and we appreciate it. And we're going to go ahead and get started with the recap from Week 12. So we're going to start out with probably the most notable game from last week, and that would be Texas A&M at South Carolina, South Carolina at Texas A&M. But it felt like in the first half it was at South Carolina because it was 30-3 at the start of that half. Amazing first half from South Carolina. Some would argue not to the fault of their own. It was a very sloppy first half from Marcel Reed and Texas A&M. If you watched it, a lot of turnovers, 2 turnovers in the first half, I believe, from Marcel Reed. It was a weird half to watch because you saw South Carolina score early and you were like, okay, hold on. Texas A&M right back and kicks another field goal, 3-3. And then South Carolina goes down 6 plays, scores a touchdown. You're like, okay, we might have a ball game here. And then Texas A&M misses that field goal, and that's really when it started. And throughout the first half, you could see a lot of careless plays, a lot of drops from South Carolina and from Texas A&M on the Texas A&M offensive side of the football. But it really started to compound with just stupid scoop and score from South Carolina, made it 17-3, and then after that, I believe South Carolina gave up a turnover in the red zone, and then they gave it right back to them. So just insane stuff here. A missed field goal, just a lot of compound mistakes. 2 missed field goals in the first half, I believe. Just a lot of stupid mistakes, and then those 10 points in those last 2 minutes of the first half. Very insane first half. One of the most odd first halves I've seen all year, and you could probably say in the last 5 years, just because of the result and what had happened. With how many dropped interceptions, almost interceptions from South Carolina, but also on the side of Texas A&M, how many mistakes they made, because this Texas A&M team looked incredible throughout the year, and they still did, because in the second half they played to the level that gets them the number 3 ranking. You look at it here, and it's just a completely different turnaround. You look at it, just amazing. A touchdown, 4 straight drives, 4 straight touchdowns. And on their 5th drive, they should have scored a touchdown, arguably 2, ends up with a fumble at the 1-yard line. Insane turn of events, but it ended up that South Carolina couldn't move it, which they couldn't do at all in the second half. It felt like they were playing a little bit of a mix of conservative football, mixed in with just, South Carolina being South Carolina. I mean, they were 3-6 heading into this football game. They had one SEC game heading into the year. So you look at it, and just overall, it was a tale of 2 halves, which, I mean, that's the obvious takeaway, but it really was. And you look at it, and South Carolina, I think the one drive that I would like to look at was the first drive that South Carolina had in the second half. You look at it, 8 plays, 45 yards, 413, and they ended up giving it over on downs when they could have taken a field goal. I mean, and hindsight's 2020, but 33-31 wins you the ball game. So I think if you could just put up points in that second half and break the ice and kind of keep your offense or keep your team kind of feeling like, okay, we scored some points in the second half. We responded to Texas A&M's touchdown, which they had in the second half. Then you have momentum. I feel like, and South Carolina could just never get that, and it ended up where they had after that 3 straight 3-and-outs and just insane switch around from this Texas A&M team, and it's very impressive. So let's go over some stats. I mean, you look at it, Marcel Reed, 22 for 39, 439 passing yards. Didn't have a good day rushing the ball, but had a great day throwing the ball, especially in the second half. 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Those 2 interceptions in the first half were very uncharacteristic from Marcel Reed. And so just kind of an inexcusable first half. But Mike Elko, you got to give props to him. He just got the contract before the game, and he still coaches like he's playing he's coaching like he's coaching for a contract. Insane level of play from this Texas A&M team here in the second half. You look at it, Lenore Sellers had a pretty bad game, 15 for 30, 246, 2 touchdowns and interception. He just did not play good in the second half. He was playing pretty good in the first half. Overall, one of his better first halves. Second half, he just couldn't do anything. And it really, it felt like they just came out like they didn't have a 27-point lead. You got to keep the foot on the gas. South Carolina never came out with a foot on the gas. And so, I mean, it's just inexcusable. And this should have been a loss for Texas A&M. This should have been a learning moment for Texas A&M. And I think they still got the learning moment and won the game. And so that's a very good game. I feel like if you're Mike Elko, because you get your guys to kind of experience what it feels like to be down, which they haven't really been in that spot a whole lot. Maybe you could argue the LSU game. But other than that, I mean, it's been kind of smooth sailing ever since the Notre Dame games. So just a very good game from Texas A&M. And for South Carolina, you gotta I don't know what you take away from this. It's been a bad year. They still got Clemson to play later on, but just a very inexcusable performance. You look at it, 4 turnovers from Texas A&M in this ball game, including that fumble at the end of the game. But just a very, very just very odd game. Very odd game when I'm thinking about it, just because you don't see this a whole lot. You don't see 27-point comebacks a whole lot in college football, just with how fast kind of the game goes. Because the game goes fast, the commercials do not go by fast. But with how limited of time you have, it's just amazing to see a 27-point comeback because you have to hit on all of your drives. And Texas A&M did that. Out of 4 out of 5 drives, they scored a touchdown, and they win the game by 1. So impressive. Very impressive from Texas A&M. It's just very odd game. But they're still number 3 in the playoff size. They're number 3 in my eyes too. And as we move on to another very interesting game from this week, I have CJ Gray. Wow, unbelievable! He can make it. Late, but he's better than Trent. So
we were both trying to wait on Trent because Trent has a little issues getting on sometimes, but
he has issues with a lot of things.
We were trying to wait for him, and I was trying to wait for him too, but Cooper said, "Let's go ahead and get on." So
let's go ahead and let's go ahead and do it. Just talked about the Texas A&M South Carolina game. CJ, any thoughts about that
game? Mm-hmm. Oh my Lord! I think we were all texting back and forth watching that one. I will say that was some of the worst first half football I've seen from both teams in a while. South Carolina didn't play great, as people who would have watched the game know. They just capitalized off of early turnovers from Marcel Reed and Texas A&M. It was a That was almost worse than the Clemson Duke game we watched. I think that was definitely worse. Yeah, that
Yes.
was. I have no words about that game. Just poor football at its finest.
Three turnovers off in the first half from Texas A&M, and I believe if you count up the points right, I think that's 17 points off of turnovers from South Carolina in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, and they still dropped probably 3 other interceptions. I mean,
Yeah.
Points were left on the table from both sides.
Yes. But I mean, then you look at the second half and just Texas A&M. I mean, they look like a top 5 team.
Oh yeah, I mean Texas A&M.
I mean,
they eliminate handing the ball over to the other team, and they look great. I mean, they even looked great as far as like scheme wise goes in the first half. They just kept giving the ball away. Everything was open. Everything they just couldn't execute anything. Drop passes, overthrown passes, missed kicks. 2 of them. I mean. Little stuff.
20. What was it? A 24-yarder that they missed off the upright, and then another one that they missed. 2. I mean, they left it. They left at least it felt like.
I mean,
20
Lenore
points
Sellers
on the board
throws
in the first half.
Lenore Sellers throws the seam like right in the middle of the field, throws it behind his tight end. He gets a hand on it, gets picked. They get it, I think, inside the 15 probably. Use all 4 downs, can't score, kick on 4th, and then they just miss. Chip shot, just miss. That was terrible.
What I was kind of saying about this game is I think this was the ideal game for Mike Elko because they got a learning experience and they got kind of that loss that they needed to kind of go into the playoffs and have a fire behind them, but they got to win. So it's like
and you can't knock them too much because South Carolina is used to doing this with pretty good teams.
Yes.
So I mean, it happened.
Yeah.
It's easier to look over though since they handled business. So
that's kind of what I was saying. I mean, in South Carolina, they just never got momentum in the second half. I think that first drive where they turned it over on downs, I believe at like the 35, where they could have kicked a field goal and at least got points on the board and, kind of said to yourself, okay, well, we've got points. We're up 33-10. We're still kind of in control. They just never got that momentum and they kind of just lay dead because after that, they went 3 and out on every single drive until their final drive of the game where they had to score.
Because, I mean, besides the first half, Marcel Reed played a heck of a game. I mean, 22 for 39, 439. Like that's just ignore his 2 very bad picks in the first half. But
very impressive game from Texas A&M. We're going to go ahead and move on to the biggest upset from the week. I mean, this was something I was not expecting, but you could kind of see it coming, but I didn't think it was going to happen. Oklahoma beats Texas 23-21 at Alabama. CJ, do you have any thoughts on this game?
I think we can just talk about how like John Mateer looks so fundamentally unstoppable. He is probably the most sound quarterback. Well, top 3 in my eyes in the country. I mean, he played a great game, 15 for 23 with 138. They couldn't really run the ball that well, if I'm being honest, besides John Mateer. John Mateer getting it done on both sides of the as a dual threat just really helps Oklahoma's offense. And they can just like they're so much more dynamic with him playing to the way he's playing right now. Post hand surgery, we thought he was gonna be kind of buns, as he was for the 2 weeks after he had it, but he's like stepped up his game and it's been in the best interest of Oklahoma.
Yeah, I agree. If you would have told me that Xavier Robinson only would have had 34 yards running the ball,
that should have been a key to this game.
I would have told you because Xavier Robinson's been the key to this Oklahoma offense. So I think if you would have told me that, I would have been like, Alabama's dominating. And if you would have told me John Mateer would have had 138 yards through the air, I would have said this game wouldn't even be close.
Yeah.
I mean, Alabama just – if you look at purely the stats, you would have thought that this game wouldn't have even been close. You look at it, 406 to 212 total yards, Alabama beating out Oklahoma. It's just a very shocking result, and it's due to turnovers. 3 turnovers to 0 turnovers. Alabama turned the ball over 3 times. There was a pick 6 in this game. There was just a bunch of mistakes fundamentally from Alabama. One of those reasons is they can't run the ball. they cannot run the ball. They have not been able to run the ball all year. Jam Miller had a bad day. It's just very, very shocking to see how. Yeah, I mean, you kind of saw it in the last two games from LSU and from what was their other game, South Carolina, and you could kind of see how that affects them. And Oklahoma, whose defense just creates turnovers, you look at their last two wins, and you could say maybe against Tennessee it was a coincidence that they got them to turn the ball over that much. But in this game as well, they got Alabama to turn the ball over too, and that's Brent Venables' defense. Is they thrive off of turnovers, and
they really do take advantage of the opposing team's mistakes. And I just think like they get dominated in the time of possession game more often than not, and they still find ways to win. And I just kind of find that interesting as like a
they don't give
semi-high-powered offense. It's just like they get dominated pretty well in the time of possession game.
They don't give up. They keep on fighting. But a decent game from Ty Simpson, who still I think is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. It's just he has no running game to kind of feed off of. 28 for 42.
When you have to air it out as much as he does, you have to give him a little grace. This wasn't a bad game.
It wasn't. There's still an interception there, but the fumble that kind of set him back. I'd say the ball don't lie. Pick six, where if you watched earlier in that drive, Alabama fumbled the ball, and it should have ended up being Oklahoma football, but they whiffed on that, and then 2 minutes later they get to be able to pick it off and get the touchdown. So just an incredible display from Oklahoma. And Oklahoma's mistakes showed up in this game too. They're not perfect. Alabama got some points off of turnovers, but Alabama missing that many field goals. They missed a couple. I think they missed one big field goal. It was a 13-play, 69-yard drive that ended up with no points, and then Alabama just can't get it done the rest of the way, and they fumble. They kept fumbling. Or wait, let me. Yeah. So they didn't. They only have.
I think I'm not really sold on Oklahoma though, because they look like a top 10 team. They are, but I just feel like they're just sneaking away with like other teams playing like with just too many mistakes. Just not good football from like you would see out of Alabama from the past 10 weeks, or you would see from Tennessee from the previous 6 weeks. It's just like I won't say they're getting lucky. They're just kind of getting fortunate with the way their schedule is right now.
Well, I would have told you that they would have lost both of these games to Tennessee and Alabama.
I would have too. I think John Mateer playing as good as he has, nobody saw that coming after post-surgery, especially after his first game post-surgery. It's just kind of like a flip the script, and we just kind of see Oklahoma's offense be able to be powered by John Mateer again, not just through the air, but by his legs as well.
Yeah. I think it's just, and kind of as the game went on, it felt like Oklahoma's defense got better and Alabama's offense got worse. And so, it's a scary team if John Mateer gets back to his level before he broke his hand. I think that's something that you got to keep in mind too, is that he had surgery in the middle of the season, and since then, obviously, he's not looked his best. He's probably rushing it, and he's probably still injured somewhere. So, because he's not playing to the level he was if you watched him against Michigan, if you watched those other games. So, just this would be a very scary team if the offense was to the level where the defense, I feel like, is at now.
I wonder what practice looks like for him, because is he playing? Is he taking it easy? Is he in limited throws? I don't know.
I don't know. But he's going to practice a lot more because they pretty much punched their ticket to the playoff if they can get through Missouri. And then I'm assuming LSU. They've pretty much done it.
I know this playoff race could get so interesting.
We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it later, but yeah. But it's going to be crazy. So we'll go ahead and get to our final game that we're going to talk about here. And this one, this was a beatdown in Athens. Georgia beating Texas 35-10. And it really all came in the fourth quarter, it felt like. CJ, what are your thoughts here?
I mean, I don't even really know where to start. If we just talk about how good Gunnar Stockton is, or if we just talk about how mediocre Texas has just been playing. I mean, they just seem poorly coached. I mean, as we see in the penalty game, 9 penalties, 58 yards given up, with to Georgia's 1 penalty and 15 yards. I mean, we could just talk about everything in this game. I mean, Arch Manning, he plays poorly whenever he faces competition. I couldn't really point to the stem of Texas's problem on the football field whenever they play a competent team, I should add. I like to point to the quarterback room because they try to run the offense through Arch Manning, but playing mediocre as he is, 27 for 43 with 251, a TD, and 1 INT, and then not being able to run the ball as well as they should be able to. It's just they have no strong side to their offense, and they have no here I can lean on this to score. It's like a 50-50 of we can't run, we can't pass.
Yeah, I agree. I did think Arch Manning had a lot of the load to carry in this game because overall, Texas had 23 rushing yards. So they couldn't run the ball against Georgia, which they haven't in the last 3 times they've played them. I believe they have under 100 yards in the last 3 games that they've played against Georgia, which obviously it's not talking about this year, but I mean, just overall, this coaching staff can't really find a way to run against Georgia's defense. So I think what you brought up about the coaching staff is very kind of relevant to this game, because I think when you're talking about Georgia, they're obviously not as talented, at least in my eyes, as they have been in previous years. I mean, you could argue even last year they're not as talented as they were. And especially in previous years. But this coaching staff just brings this team to a different level in these big games to where, other teams, they just can't get there. I mean, if you were to argue Texas had a better talent roster than Georgia, I would honestly argue for that. I mean, you look at who Texas has, and on paper, this should at least be a close game in Athens. But Georgia Kirby Smart just brings these guys to a whole nother level. Gunnar Stockton played incredible today. Nate Frazier had a fairly decent game. And then you look at their receiving core, it's just a bunch of dudes. It's a bunch of dudes. Noah Thomas had a pretty good 2-touchdown day. London Humphreys, Zachariah Branch is a dog. Oscar Delp is a dog. Chauncey Bowen's a dog. Dylan Bell dog. And it's just like these guys are all just like, I don't know. Georgia's my favorite SEC team because they're all just dogs. And it's not because they're Bulldogs. No pun intended. But
I definitely agree. And then you could also argue that Texas roster is better than Georgia's. And me personally, I don't think so. I think it's definitely comparable though. This game shouldn't have been won by as much as it was. I think that's really embarrassing to Texas as a program, considering how much money they spend, how well they do in recruiting. It's just I don't know. You shouldn't be losing this game by more than 3 scores.
They just didn't finish the game out. I mean, you look at this game, and a key point in this game is when in the second quarter, it was just punt, interception, punt. After Georgia went up 14-3,
and how weak they are in how weak Texas is in the front seven, especially in the linebacker room, not just on the run, but in the pass as well. It's like the middle of the field is always open. I don't know. It's just something to look at.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you look at it and just a key part of this game was when Texas got to 14-10 and you felt like, okay, the momentum might be switching here. This could be a good game. But Georgia just flipped to a different switch and they go touchdown, onside kick. They get it, and then another touchdown, 28-10, and then they immediately stop Texas and get another touchdown. And I mean, just like that, in the matter of about, I'd say, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes, Georgia's up 25 points and the game's over. So, and it's just incredible execution from the coaching staff, players, and the Texas defense was stepping up all game to kind of keep this game within reach, because late into the third quarter they were down 14-3. They weren't scoring a whole lot. This game could have got out of hand a lot quicker, but just in I don't know. This is just
Texas being so stagnant on offense when they play
yeah.
less than a greater than subpar defense is just it just needs to be like, it's alarming.
They haven't played a complete game all year.
No.
I mean,
even
the
Vanderbilt
Vanderbilt,
game,
they let up 21, I believe 21 points in the fourth quarter.
Quarter.
Yeah, like it's just they haven't played a full game yet. A lot of people are saying they're out of the playoff race. I have them out of the playoff race. I think even if they beat Texas A&M, I think that they're probably out of it.
They still have their case that they do beat Texas A&M. It's not off the table, but
I don't know.
I'd lean towards no.
I'd lean towards no. I mean, there's just so many people at the top right now that I wouldn't move Texas above them
even if they do play Texas A&M. I mean, Texas A&M and they beat them, I just feel like that definitely does have some recency bias, but just opposed to how they play all year, it's just kind of like, I don't know. We can't really like even the Vandy game. It's a good win, but the way you had that win, it's just
I mean, and if you're Georgia and you're in a great spot now. I mean, you've got I think you've almost played all of your conference or you've played all your conference games. You've got Charlotte and Georgia Tech. You're at 7-1. You could possibly be outside of the SEC. I'm pretty sure, unless Alabama loses, that you're out of the SEC championship. And I mean, Texas A&M could lose too, but they're sitting in a pretty good spot right now. And even if they lose to Georgia Tech, I think they're still in.
Yeah, Georgia's in the playoff.
This was a big game for them, and so props to them. Props to the coaching staff. Great game from them.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and move on from the recap portion, and we're going to go ahead and talk about something interesting that happened this week before we get into the college football playoff rankings, and that being James Franklin getting hired at Virginia Tech. CJ, any thoughts on this hiring for Virginia Tech? And very interesting, as this being the first kind of domino falling in the big coaching carousel cycle we have this year.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. I think this is like the first piece of, like you said, the big coaching carousel we have this year. And I think it wasn't really shocking because it was leaked earlier in the week that they were he was visiting Blacksburg. Terms to a deal were coming closer and closer. But I just feel like, as I saw the headline, I was like, that's kind of like I don't know if that's a fit. A lot of history in Blacksburg, but they just haven't really had any success in the past couple of years. I wonder if he can turn that around, but can he get over the hump to be a playoff team consistently in the playoff, win big games? Excuse me, the voice cracked, but win big games. Like he wasn't able to do at Penn State. I just don't see Virginia Tech going in that direction. So I don't really know if this was a upgrade or a downgrade for James Franklin, especially with the poor QB play they just had this past year and Kyron Drone. So I don't know. A bunch to think about.
Well, I mean, you look at what James Franklin did this time last year, and if you would have told any of the people at Virginia Tech that, middle of the second half, or at the start of the second half of the Orange Bowl, when Penn State was playing Notre Dame, that James Franklin would be their coach in next November, I mean, they would have been like, when can we sign the papers? It's insane that this has happened. I think it's not like James Franklin has forgotten how to coach. I think he's still he was in the playoff semifinals this time last year. And so Virginia Tech's gotten a playoff semifinal head coach. It's insane to think about. I think it's insane that Penn State fired him.
I just feel like, how does that really help Virginia Tech? Because, I mean, is he the missing piece?
I think it helps him tremendously.
No, I mean, definitely. But is he the missing piece of recruiting? Do you get better kids? I mean, like, there's just so much that goes into this college football thing where it's what is his timeline for success at Virginia Tech, and how long will he be there until they give him the boot?
I think, I mean, they're going to give him a lot of time because I feel like Virginia Tech's been
They've been
at
in a
the
bad
bottom.
place for a while, and I'd
But
say,
I mean, you look at what they've done historically with Frank Beamer. I mean, Virginia Tech used to be the top of the ACC
yeah,
back in the day, and so I mean, I feel like kids from Virginia's a really good football state. I think you look at it, and these kids just really need a reason to go to Virginia Tech. I mean, Virginia Tech's got some of the best. They've got one of the best stadiums. They've got some of the best traditions. They've got just a
hey, they
lot
have
of.
great dining halls.
They've got great dining halls, and so I mean, and they're putting in a lot of money. I don't know if you saw CJ, but they're putting in like 400 million into their athletics over like so they're bought in. And so I think if this works, I think this is a all-time hire because I think even if in this modern day of college football, yes, James Franklin's had issues winning big games. At the end of the day, he's going to a easier conference, I would say, and we'll argue and we'll see where that goes with the ACC because they really haven't had a coach like James Franklin other than Dabo Sweeney in
Yeah,
the
I was about to
league.
say the
So
ACC has never seen an elite head coach before, besides Dabo Sweeney.
okay.
I'd say like yeah. No
Okay,
knock, no
but
knock, no knock.
but like, and they've seen their fair share of elite coaches, Jimbo
Yeah, I'm talking about
Fisher,
in like getting this age of
but
college
in
football,
these
like
last 5 years,
yeah,
ACC's gone on a downhill. It's very exciting to see where the ACC is going to go, especially when you take into consideration Florida State's probably going to let go of Mike Norvell. A couple other dominoes are probably going to fall. I think I
Mike
think
Norvell.
I think this could be the first step in maybe the ACC getting to be where they need to be. Overall, I think the ACC should not be below the Big 12 ever, and they are right now. So, I mean, it's just I think this is a good hire for the ACC, Virginia Tech, and I think it's a good fit for James Franklin because now he's going to have a whole new group of people that are going to be behind him. I think it's going to be he's going to have all the resources he needs, and I think this has been an amazing hire for Virginia Tech. And I still think for Penn State, I think it's going to be a day where you kind of look back on and you say, why did we let go of this guy? Because I feel like the odds of them getting a guy who's to the level of what James Franklin was is not likely unless they get Lane Kiffin or somebody. So I think it's
Nobody in the
definitely.
ACC is landing Lane Kiffin. I'll tell you that right now.
I'm just saying Penn State.
Hey,
But
Lane Kiffin visited Baton Rouge and he visited Gainesville. I think, hey, and he's saying it's because his son is on recruiting visits.
yeah, I don't know. I don't buy that.
Is this true, or is that a scapegoat?
Well, what do you think? And I'm just going to drop this here, and then we're going to go on because this might be Facebook AI. But what do you think about maybe possibly Nick Saban going to LSU?
That's not crazy because he definitely got a call for the job. Everybody is delusional to think that Nick Saban didn't get a call from Florida or LSU or any of these big institutions.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen, but
I think the money could be just right and Nick Saban still wouldn't go.
Yeah.
I just don't see Nick Saban going back.
There's too many legacy concerns there, I feel like.
That's what I think as well. I think Nick Saban is not selfish, but selfish enough to protect his legacy as far as what he left at Alabama and not go back to LSU and kind of start from like a rebuild mode at LSU because LSU's in a bad place. The job is nice, the money's nice, but as far as the program goes, they're in a pretty rough spot. And I'd say like a rebuild year. Nick Saban's old. He can't just turn a program around in 1 year. Nobody can. Nobody's a miracle worker on this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
On this earth.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. But I mean, honestly, if I had to sit next to Pat McAfee for 15 Saturdays in a row, I might be going to LSU. But
hey, that's definitely entertaining. But I could, if I was as old as Nick Saban, I could see the downside.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, we will keep you updated on all this stuff once it happens because it will happen. we'll see what we'll do with off-season coverage, but we'll get there when we get there. But now we're going to go ahead and we're going to look into the college football playoff rankings for this week. A lot of stuff to talk about in these rankings. So I'm going to go ahead and pull them up. CJ's going to go ahead and pull them up. But a big ranking is we are, I believe, 1, 2. I think we are three rankings away from the actual rankings. We're about 3 weeks away. So we're getting close. We're getting very close.
It's getting to an excited time.
Yes, very exciting.
We live for this time of year.
So, yeah. So CJ, some of your thoughts on these. Do you have them pulled up?
I do.
Okay. What is some stuff from we'll go 1 to 10 that kind of jumps out at you to start out.
1 to 10. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me scroll to 1 to 10. I already know what they look like, but honestly, I'd say 1 to 10 is perfectly fine. I think people could. The only argument I see is Notre Dame, being out of people's playoff, but I think they have the right to be. I think Miami probably will get in over Utah, but as far as this goes, I think this is pretty solid. I have no complaints with this.
Yeah. I think something that I would change is obviously first, for me at least, Notre Dame and Alabama. I think you look at their resumes, and it's like Alabama has so many more impressive wins than they have a win over Georgia, and they're 10. It's like
I know, but I can definitely get the committee's argument for Notre Dame being at 9. It's just it's like a toss-up. You just don't really that's not solidified yet.
Yeah. I get the win over Pitt is good, but I think it's kind of very reactionary from the committee to drop them down that much. I think still being at 9 is probably the best spot for Alabama, but they probably didn't want to drop down Notre Dame for winning a game, so I get that too. But I don't know. It's very
I would
tough.
argue for Alabama over Notre Dame because Oklahoma's a good football team. They're number 8. They're 8-2. Just beat Tennessee, came off a good win. Dude, they played a good game. John Mateer is healthy-ish, playing good football. Oklahoma's a hard team to beat.
Yeah,
I think 6 spots is kind of a bit much, but the argument for number 10 isn't too bad either.
Another thing to mention before we keep going with this, if you're watching right now and you have any comments on the rankings, make sure to put them down in the comments. We will respond to them. Just letting you know, and subscribe. I've already mentioned it, but subscribe. We're on the road. We're on the road to 200.
Heck yeah.
Anyway, something I want to bring up as well is Texas Tech at 5. Just an argument to bring up as we keep going. I don't think Georgia is going to lose another game. They've got a game against Georgia Tech, but that's neutral site. That's, I don't know. We'll see. But I think something to look at here is, can Texas Tech jump Georgia for a first-round bye? I think that's something to look at, especially because I think the two teams in between them aren't going to play in the conference championship. They're going to play. And so if they win the Big 12 championship, do they jump Georgia? I think that's something to look at. Because I think for a long time, people haven't thought Texas or a Big 12 team or an ACC team would get into the top 4. But I think it's something to look at. And I think Texas Tech has played that good. And so I don't know. I think that's something to look at.
I don't know if we can. It just depends. It just really depends on how these games go. They play West Virginia next week.
But I think,
and then Georgia plays Georgia Tech. It's just however those games go. I feel like Georgia Tech being the much greater of an opponent holds weight to that number 4 spot where Georgia can keep it.
But I think something else to bring up is you might want to be in that 5 spot because then you get to play the group of 5 team.
Yeah.
So and you get a week off to rest, or you get a week to kind of stay hot, stay fresh, and stay hot. I think that was something we saw in the last playoff, is that all 4 teams who got a bye ended up losing.
Staying in that group does seem important. I think number 5, like you said, I didn't really think about that. That is
So
Probably
I
the
think
more soft spot to be in. I mean, of course you want to be higher, but
I
I
think
think Texas
the
Tech,
5 and 6
honestly,
spot,
yeah,
yeah,
Texas
it's going
Tech
to be
honestly probably wants to be
once,
5.
yeah, and because then they also get the home playoff game. So
Yeah,
and that's a lot cooler than playing in the Peach Bowl. So I don't know. I think that's something to take into consideration. So I think
definitely.
it's a lot of the 5 and 6 spot's going to be a lot definitely coveted because you're going to get to play against Tulane, North Texas, or Virginia. So it's like we'll see. All right, anything from 11 to we'll go 25. We'll go ahead and look and
Drop it
look
in
at
the
all these.
25.
Yeah.
Honestly, something to look at for anybody paying attention to the rankings, 20 through 25 is, well, actually 21 through 25. I'll kind of spare us a little bit.
Oh.
No, 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 no.
Oh my
But
gosh.
it's pretty much a toss up. As we see, like it basically, like, it's new teams every week. Somebody will jump from not ranked into the 20 through 25 spot. It's just like it's anybody's ball game down there. Most people say it doesn't matter, but I say it matters just as much as 13 through up until 20. So
Yeah. I'll say not even 19 through 25 is a toss up. I mean,
yeah,
it
I mean,
you want to
honestly,
you
if
want to talk
I'm
about
being frank,
hard, you want to talk about hard this week, and putting my 20 through 25 was hard in the rankings this week. They could all be flip-flopped. I mean, it's very hard. I will say, and this is my one big critique from this week, why is Tulane 24? We've got
I
two
mean,
other teams
if we
that
were gonna put a G5 team in, I'm not a G5 hater, but I feel like it shouldn't have been Tulane. It could have been like JMU,
North Texas.
North Texas. Yeah, I mean, either one of
I
those.
mean,
I don't think.
you want to do comparison? I'm just going to compare this right now.
Well, he's pulling those
UTSA
up.
in the
Yeah.
same 2 weeks, UTSA beat Tulane. They beat Tulane. You want to know what the score was? 48-26.
Actually,
And
watched that
then
game.
and then they went ahead and they played North Texas and they lost 55-17.
Yeah, and like you play teams back to back weeks. That's like the closest thing you can get as far as head to
It's
head.
I don't get it. I don't get it. And I guarantee you, if you put Tulane's name on North Texas's, team, that North Texas would be ranked instead of, Tulane because they
Yeah, I
want.
mean that's definitely true. A name holds weight whether you like to admit it or not in these
And I
rankings.
mean, it's even with Tulane, it's like they want a team in the playoff that, some people would reckon. They'll be like, oh, Tulane, okay. They're group 5, but they're okay. And it's
I
like,
think
I
what people
don't.
have to realize is Virginia being at 19 at 9-2, people have to realize that coming out of the ACC, you have to play dang near pretty much perfect because the ACC holds no weight really in these rankings. I mean, it's the
Yeah.
worst conference. You really have to like be able to play and win your like games by good margins to be able to be in the playoff conversation.
I mean, something to look at is so Miami's 13.
Yeah.
The commissioner for the college football playoff said that they do their rankings in kind of groups of like 3 or 4, and so
Hmm.
they'll rank those 4 people and then they'll go on to the next group. So Miami and Notre Dame aren't in the same like kind of quadrant or group right now, but they
Hmm.
said if they were, that head to head would matter. And so something interesting to see is if these two teams both keep on winning, will Miami keep going up, which I'm sure they will with just other teams losing, and will that bring Miami to jump over Notre Dame? I think it's stupid that the committee hasn't done that yet, but I
They
think
start to bring in head to head a little bit late each year though. So it's really nothing different.
yeah, I agree. I think it's very it's very it's very weird. I think also to look at something you were talking about ACC teams, Georgia Tech and Virginia. I think right now they're the 2 top teams in the ACC. I think they're another bid stealer team. I mean, they're outside of the top 12, so I think that's important for teams like BYU, Utah, even Alabama, um, and Vanderbilt. I think those are those are that's going to be important because whoever wins the ACC most likely now is going to get in. I don't think we're going to get 2 Group of 5 teams in, especially with the way that
even having one. I mean,
even with the way that
I'm still no hater of the 12-team playoff, but I think giving a free G5 spot,
you're preaching to the choir.
I know you're just never gonna have a G5 team that can compete every single year with another Georgia, Alabama, Oregon, Ohio State, you name it. Like that's like a once every probably like 5, 6, 7 years type of thing. I mean, like you never know how good the best G5 team is going to be, and it's just really a toss up each year. Like an Ashton Genty and Boise State's not going to come around too often.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think
12-team playoff is nice. I just feel like giving the G5 a free bid is just kind of it's just kind of like a pity ranking.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but I mean, overall, any other thoughts on the college football top 25, CJ?
I'd say we're pretty good. I would like to point out in the coaches poll, North Texas and James Madison are both ranked, and the coaches poll is pretty accurate.
In the AP and the coaches poll, both of them.
No. Just the coaches.
They're both ranked. 22-23 and 21-22.
Yeah.
Yep. AP and coaches poll knows ball. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
AP.
So
yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll move on now to something that is always agreed upon. The Week 13 college football corner rankings for this week. Get them pulled up here. But this is a ranking that I've done ever since the college football playoff started doing their rankings. So we're going to go ahead and pull them up. But a big week. So like I said, the 25 through 20 was very hard to pull from because you look at it, 5 teams from 20 to 25 lost last week. So obviously I dropped them all out. And so now we got some new teams. So we'll start off with 25 through 18. I've got Houston and Illinois at 25 and 24. I think this is, I don't like either of these teams being here, but it is what it is. I think Illinois is a little bit better than Houston. I think their losses are better, but also their wins are better. Missouri and Tennessee at 23 and 22. I kind of have them grouped together as well, but I do think Tennessee's had more impressive losses. And it's a toss up, but I think if you look at the product right now, I think Tennessee's better. So
this is good. No, this is good. I like the controversy, but I think North Texas and Jamie, I'm going to say it. They're just a little too high as opposed to the other really good Power 4 teams you're putting them above.
I get it, but also I think with this being a ranking, I think you have to reward. You have to reward them being 9 and 1.
I guess you can reward the G5. I'm not a fan, but I'm also not a hater. I'd say it isn't a power ranking, but
especially I think these 2 teams, like I've said before, these last couple of weeks, I've had North Texas in all 3 of my rankings, but I haven't had them move up significantly because I think probably 19-20 is the cap on these 2. And so
I think that's the cap on. I think 23 or like 22. Nothing above 20 is the cap for all these G5 teams. This is for the college football playoff rankings too. It's like if we're gonna put these teams in the rankings, because they already most already don't deserve it. I think greater than 22 is always going to be probably a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
Who's even the G5 favorite right now? Is it North Texas?
Well, it's North Texas, but Tulane's most likely going to be in the championship with them. So if it's whoever wins the American, I believe. And then if a crazy scenario happened where Tulane lost again and then Navy played North Texas and Navy beat North Texas, I think James Madison might make it above them. But I do think James Madison's being heavily looked over. I think if they win their conference at 12-1, I mean, I don't see a reason why you wouldn't put them in the playoff. I think
it's
with
just
the way
hard
it
to
is,
really judge all these G5 teams fairly.
I mean, you just look at what they've done and pick the best one because you've given them a spot. And I think the best one right now is James Madison. I think it's, and you'll let them play in a
have to
game,
agree.
and it depends on who they play, but I think it could be either a good game or a bad game. And I think, and I think with it being at home, I think it's going to be a lot worse. But I mean, you kind of saw it at the neutral site last year. Boise State kind of put up a fight against Penn State. I think, it's definitely tough. And we've seen,
I also think Penn State's run defense outside of their D-line really struggled, though. So it was a good matchup for Boise State. But, I mean,
it's tough. It's tough.
Tennessee's
but
beating North Texas and JMU,
but,
by the way. Just going to put that out there. Just going to put that out there.
Okay.
Just going to put that.
Joey Aguilar better not throw no interceptions against him, but,
I'd say his pick issues, it's just like it. He's still playing great. Don't get me wrong. It's just that definitely is an issue. Like, this is beyond college. As he goes to the NFL, it's just him being secure with the football is going to have to get a lot better. But 3 of his picks aren't his fault. Miles Kinselman's to blame for 3 of those. I'd say he's still playing great. And he's not even doing it against really great defenses either. I mean, against Georgia, he played pretty much flawless, especially in the first quarter. Yeah, I mean, just turning the ball over when stakes really aren't that high.
Yeah. I agree. I think let's move down to 1918. Texas is right behind Virginia. I think that's proper. I haven't seen a whole lot from Texas this year. 1 wins against Vanderbilt, and the rest have been pretty lackluster. I almost put them below North Texas and James Madison, but it's just very tough. I think all of these teams right here are tough. I think you could interchange them, and I'd be kind of okay with it. But I think these are the best rankings here. I think Virginia did have a good, impressive win against Duke. But I think the number 18 team in the country should be Duke. So I'm not going to.
I know. Yeah, I think Virginia. Honestly, if Virginia was unranked, even in the college football playoff rankings, like, I wouldn't bat an eye because Virginia really isn't number 18. They've snuck by with probably close to 5 of their 9 wins. I'd say they don't play like the number 18 team, but their record shows it, so we have to honor them with it. But I'd say probably 5 of these teams, 19 through 25, are beating Virginia. In the power rankings, they're not even in the top 25.
No. All right. Well, let's move on to 17 through 11. I have Miami at 17. I still have them a little bit lower than the college football playoff rankings just because I feel like you look at it and they really haven't done anything too impressive since the SMU loss. They beat Syracuse and NC State by a good amount, but I mean, I think it's still, you've got to look at it and be like, they were playing those games at home. They play a lot better at home. You look at their last 2 games of the year, they're both on the road at Blacksburg and at Pitt. So I'm just going to say this. I guarantee you they lose one of those 2 games. And the Notre Dame thing won't really matter. But, I think Miami hasn't done a whole lot to impress me. So I'm going to keep them at 17 for right now. I think if they beat both of those teams, they have a shot. If a couple things fall their way, but I don't think they control their own destiny right now. So we'll see what happens with them. But next up, then we got USC and Michigan at 16 and 15. I think these are appropriate placements. USC's got a prove-it game against Oregon this week, and if they win that, then they're in the playoff hunt too, which kind of muddies the waters a lot too. But I think for right now they're appropriate at 16. And Michigan almost lost to Northwestern. I considered dropping them, but I mean, I don't know. I think 15's okay for them right now. They've got a game against Ohio State that's going to be very important. That's going to. I mean, they're still in the playoff.
Imagine they should have got a win there.
That would be
flip
It'd be 5 in a row.
Yeah, that'd flip everything on its head, but they just aren't going to win that game. I don't see it.
Then I've got Georgia Tech at 14, I think. I've kind of just moved them up because other teams have lost. But, I mean, also, I think they're the best ACC team right now. I think if you look at what's been going on in the ACC, I think overall they've got the best offense. Maybe not the best defense, but I think overall their resume, their offense it's been strong. And so I think Haynes King, as long as he stays healthy, I think they've got a prove-it game against Georgia. And then they'll play in the ACC championship, and they'll have 2 games. If they win one of those 2 games, they're in the playoff. So, you know, I think because if they beat Georgia, I don't think there's a way if they lose the ACC, they'd get put out. So they've got a couple more games after this, I believe. Let me look at it. Yeah, Pitt plays at Georgia Tech. That's a big one. I think they've got a couple big games, but I think right now they're up there. I mean, they're just their record and their resume, I think, is the best out of the ACC teams and one of the best in the country because they're 9-1, and not a lot of people have less than 2 losses. So there you go. Vanderbilt at 13. I could drop them. I could. And I'm not going to. But all I'm going to say is I wouldn't be surprised if they lost to Kentucky or Tennessee. A lot of these teams are kind of, I think from 13 to 25, I don't know. I think you could see a lot of big issues with a lot of these teams. But I think for right now, Vanderbilt's got a couple good wins. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how they perform against Tennessee. I think that's going to be a play-in game for them.
And we're going to rock the bed with them. Hopefully. I'm kind of scared about that game. I can't even lie to you. Well, hey, we're on site, though.
We are on site. We are on site of the Tennessee and Vanderbilt game. So that's something. That's something. That's gonna be a fun one. And I hope
so fun
before then, so that we can have game day at Tennessee. I think it could happen.
It very well could. I don't know.
We'll see.
Do they go to Ohio State, Michigan? That's the game. I mean,
that's boring though. That's boring.
I feel like they are there pretty often. I
think either way they get criticism because if they went to Tennessee, they'd be like, oh, they're going to the SEC team again. But if they went to Ohio State, Michigan, they'd be like,
I mean, they're going to get backlash regardless.
Yeah.
So
if they don't go to a D2 game, they get backlash every single week.
Yeah, so, I'd say they just drop the nuts and go ahead and go to Tennessee Vandy. I'd love to get up that morning and go to game day.
I would love to. That would be an experience.
And we can do corner at the Airbnb we're staying.
Yeah.
And
that would be something. That would be something.
Corner on the 50 at Neyland. Hey.
They have open gates the Friday before a game. I don't know.
Y'all might catch us.
Number 12, I got Utah. And number 11, I got BYU strictly because of the head-to-head. BYU beat out Utah 24-21. I think Utah is a very strong team who is, again, just like a couple of these other teams. I think they've had a couple of bad performances, but I think at their best, they are a really good team. And I think they've got a easy path of a couple teams lose, but I don't think they control their own destiny. We'll see. They're right on the edge right now of the playoff bubble. So we'll see. Let's move on to the top 10. I've got Notre Dame at 10, right below Alabama. I think just if you compare these two resumes, Alabama's got a better one. And it's not really close. And I think it's a little bit of reactionary from the playoff committee that they dropped Alabama below Notre Dame. So I think right now 9's appropriate. Oklahoma's at 8's appropriate. I think Oregon at 7's very appropriate. And this is kind of looking like the college football playoff rankings here. And the only difference I've got here is I've got Texas Tech a little bit below Ole Miss. I think you could flip-flop them, but I think right now –
yeah, dude, this is spot on. I was looking into that. I was like, yeah, Texas Tech is right with this. Yeah, this is spot on. This is really good.
And then Georgia at 4, Texas A&M at 3. I'm not going to drop them for doing what other teams have done and being surprised about it. I think the interesting conversation is people who say, oh, Indiana had such a bad game last week against Penn State. Oh, they should be dropped. And then this week they're like, oh, very impressive win from Texas A&M.
Yeah, I mean, we have to keep
or
the
the other
same
way
narrative.
around.
We have to keep the same narrative. And like the same thing with Alabama, people want them to be dropped for their close game against South Carolina. But I honestly think Texas A&M's, their win is honestly more impressive because they were able to dominate a whole second half.
Yeah.
South Carolina didn't score. Texas A&M put up how many? I don't even know unanswered points. Yeah, like that was a dominant performance in the second half. Although that was probably one of the worst football games in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
But I'd say that was still a very dominant performance, and it just shows why they should be number 3.
Yep. And then got Ohio State at number 1 for the second straight week for me. They're just going to keep staying there until they lose, which that could happen in the Big Ten Championship or against Michigan. We'll see. But that's my top 25. And I've added a little something this week as we get closer to the Heisman Trophy presentation. I wanted to give you a little list here. See what CJ thinks of this as well as y'all. But here's my Heisman watch list. I got Fernando Mendoza right above Julian Sayin at 1. And I think the reason I have Fernando just above of Julian is because I feel like Fernando's more important to Indiana than Julian is to Ohio State. I think obviously they don't do it this way because I feel like a lot of teams would have had it, or a lot of Heismans would have been different. But the way I kind of look at it is who's the most valuable to their team. And I think Fernando Mendoza is.
So this is your MVP award. Basically.
This is my Heisman, but I think this is how the Heisman should be. I think this is what they say. It's the most outstanding player, the person who kind of puts, the team on their back, I feel like. And I think Fernando does that. I think.
Well, I feel like that's just really not fair then. Well, because like.
It's not.
I mean,
whoa.
It's not fair to Julian saying that he plays at Ohio State. I mean, he could ball out and have a 90 completion percentage. But then we could have the same narrative. Oh, Ohio State really doesn't need him as much as Fernando Mendoza.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that just because he plays at Ohio State. I just think the talent roster there is a lot better, and I don't think he has to do as much. I think if you watch, but I do think he's played a really good season. 80% completion rating is nothing to sneeze at, and what he's done is just as impressive as Fernando. I just think Fernando, has done a lot more at Indiana. And I think he's had a lot more impressive of performances. I mean, even the Penn State game, you look at that final drive that Fernando had, I think it's one of the most impressive of the season. And so I think Julian's going to have a lot of those moments too. And I ultimately think once Indiana and Ohio State play,
I think whoever wins that game is going to get it.
I think whoever wins it will get it. And so, but for right now, I do have Fernando just above Julian, just because of, the talent roster on Ohio State. I think it's a little bit harder on Fernando. And also I do think that he's had a lot more moments where he has gone out and won games for Indiana.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely understand your take, but and Julian Sayin is my Heisman for everybody watching. I'm sure I made that pretty clear, but yeah, I'd say we can't knock Julian because he plays at Ohio State. I mean, definitely the talent roster's A1, the best in the country. That's debatable as well. But I mean, Indiana's roster is really good as well. I mean, it doesn't compare to Ohio State's, but it's still very relevant. And then, honestly, our fan favorite probably is Jacob Rodriguez. He's probably the fan favorite Heisman. People want to see something different. Linebacker.
Put y'all's Heisman picks in the comments.
Yeah.
Put y'all's. But yeah, and also kind of what I wanted to mention is that for my Heisman list, the nominees at the end of the year, I think it should always be 3 quarterbacks, a skill position, and a defensive player. I think that's what it should always be, and so that's kind of what my list reflects. but I got Ty Simpson at 3. I think he's played really good this year, and I think he's had a lot more load to manage as well, just because of the lack of a running game, and I think he's had to do a lot more as well. 22 touchdowns and 2 interceptions is also very impressive. So I think I've got him above a couple other SEC quarterbacks on my list. And then I've got Ahmad Hardy, leading rusher in college football right now, almost 7 yards per carry, 15 touchdowns, under 200 carries. He's done a lot, and he's contributed a lot to Missouri's success. I think you look at it, and I think if they don't have Ahmad Hardy, they have two less wins than they do have right now. So I think Ahmad Hardy, and he just ran for 300 yards last week against Mississippi State. So I think he's been having a really good season this year. So
that's true.
And then, like you said, fan favorite Jacob Rodriguez. I think he's a do it all type of guy on defense. You look at it, almost 100 tackles. He's got a sack. He's got 6 pass deflections. He's got 4 interceptions, and he's got 7 forced fumbles. Like, he's a dog, and he's got 2 touchdowns. So he just had a wildcat kind of touchdown play last week. So, I mean, he's doing it all for Texas Tech. And I think if you're looking at a defensive player to nominate for the Heisman Trophy, I think Jacob Rodriguez is that guy. And then an honorable mention I had was Byron Brown, 2,500 pass yards, 800 rush yards, 32 total touchdowns, 11 through the ground, 21 through the air. I think he's had a very, very good season. And I mean, just kind of a sleeper pick. I think he's done a lot of good things. If you've watched him, obviously not the season he's wanted at USF, but I think he's been balling out. So any thoughts on this list or any other Heisman contenders, CJ?
Dude, I mean, I wouldn't think I'd see Byron Brown in a Heisman race. I mean, that's great. Dude,
yeah.
We've been advocates of Byron Brown for a long time.
Yep.
That's crazy.
He's a dog.
He's having a great season.
Oh, yeah. He is. Sneaky good season.
He had a 2-week span where he was playing not so great, but
yeah. Well, all right. That'll conclude the Heisman list, but we're going to go ahead and make our picks for this week. Not going to lie, this week's slate is not as good as some others, but there's still a lot of good games to pick from this week. If you look last week, I did not do so hot. I went 6. I went 6-6. Trent and CJ went 8-4, bringing the totals to 86 and 47 for Trent, 97 and 59 for me, and 98 and 58 for CJ. So very tight race as we come down the stretch. And
wait, so what's Trent's percentage? Is he still in the lead?
I'm not sure. Let me
wait, put it up on the screen if you haven't already.
Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Let me do a little math for you. Or wait. Is this right? I think he's got 54% winning percentage, and then kind of compare that to us. Hold on. Let me look. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at it. I think we're right all around the same winning percentage, but that'll be something that I'll calculate at the end of the year, and we'll crown the champion. But we will go ahead and pick our games for this week, and we'll start off with a ranked matchup: Missouri at Oklahoma. CJ, who do you got in this one?
Give me John Mateer. He's playing great. I want to see what their run attack's going to look like this week, though, because can they get away with less than 40 rushing yards from the running back and still be able to win this football game?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's going to be definitely a tester here. I think they've got two big tester games, and I wouldn't be surprised if they lost one of them. But I am going to go Oklahoma here at home. I think it would be a shock if they lost this one. So yeah. Next up, we've got Miami at Virginia Tech. Who do you got here, CJ?
Give me Miami in this tough matchup. No,
I think this is a trap game.
Oh wow!
I'm gonna go Miami. I'm gonna go. But I told you earlier, Miami's losing one of these two games against Virginia Tech and Pitt. So I think possibly it can happen, but
I'd lean towards Pitt if I was you.
I'd lean towards Pitt too, but it could happen. I think with the way Miami's been up and down this year, I think it could happen. We'll see. Anyway, off to Louisville at SMU. This is a big one in the ACC. Who do you got here, CJ?
Give me Louisville after that tough loss to Clemson.
Yeah, okay. Let's go Tigers. Woo. I'll go Louisville too. Louisville's a good ball club. They should have won against Clemson. And they're gonna have a fire lit under them, and I think they'll come out and beat SMU in this close one.
Honestly, if they win that Clemson game, they could be on upset watch. But I think since they lost, I agree. It does cause a little smoke.
Yeah. Okay, Syracuse at Notre Dame. Who do you got here, CJ?
Give me the Fighting Irish.
I agree with you. I think
not much to say.
If Notre Dame drops one of these two games to Syracuse or Stanford, no comment, but it would be pretty bad. So I'm going to take Notre Dame, but they can't be sleepy in these next two games because if they lose one of them, they're out of the playoffs. So they've got to put the pedal to the metal. Next up, Kentucky at Vanderbilt. Who do you got, CJ?
Dude, I hope Vandy doesn't drop this game because I want them to have this playing game when they go to Neyland.
Yep, it would be bad.
Cutter Boley isn't too good, so give me Vandy. I'm kind of anxious about that though.
The only thing that I think pushes Vanderbilt over the edges is at home. I think Vanderbilt's been bad away from home, which is something that will come into effect next week. But I think for this game, I think they'll be in the clear. Hopefully, you never know with Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I mean, like looking at these like picks, I mean, I'd say there's like 3 weeks where I felt really confident I was going to go like 12-0, 10-0, and I'm pumping it like an 8-4. Like these games are really toss up sometimes, and this is one of them.
Yep. All right, Arkansas at Texas. Who do you got, CJ?
Give me Texas. Arch has been very serviceable against bad defenses, and I think this is one of those games where it's going to be one of those bounce back games where they lose to Georgia by so much and they kind of lay a whooping to Arkansas and people give them fake hype again. So give me Texas.
Yep. I agree with you. I think the only thing kind of like with Vanderbilt is they're at home. I think this is going to be a get back game, kind of like you said, but also it's at home. So I think that's where Texas finds their rhythm, and I think this will be a good win for Texas. Next up, Duke at North Carolina. Big rivalry game. Maybe not as big as in basketball, but it's a big rivalry game.
Yeah, it's funny how much this gets looked over in football, and it's more about UNC and NC State. But I mean, I can't even make this a big game. Just give me Duke. UNC is god awful. Isn't UNC? Yeah, UNC's at home, but still, give me Duke.
I'm gonna go UNC here. I think UNC's had a couple of decent games these last couple of weeks, and they did get. I think they lost last week, but I think Duke's not really that good. As well as UNC, I think this is a toss-up. But I'm gonna go UNC here, and I believe in Bill. I believe in old BB.
I don't.
Oh, okay. Next up, we've got USC at Oregon. Game of the week. Big playoff implications for these two teams. And so I think USC has a shot, but I think Oregon's going to prevail at home. CJ, who do you have?
I think USC does have a chance, but I'm just going to go Oregon.
Wow. Shocking pick there. Next up, we've got Pitt at Georgia Tech. Another big game in the ACC. I mentioned it before, but Pitt's kind of out of it now because they just lost to well, actually, they're not because Notre Dame's not in the ACC either, so they've got one loss. Whoever loses this game's out of the ACC race. Whoever wins it's still in. So with one loss. So I think this is a big game for the ACC and playoff race. Who do you got, CJ?
I think Haynes King is going to pull this one out. That dude is a dog, and he puts Georgia Tech on his back every single game. As long as he stays healthy in this game and he can last 4 quarters, I think Georgia Tech wins.
I think whoever's playing at home is a big factor. Georgia Tech's at home. I think coming off a loss to Notre Dame, it's going to be tougher for Pitt. I know Pat Narduzzi earlier on before the Notre Dame game was like this. They're still in the ACC even if they lose to Notre Dame, but I feel like that was definitely a must-win game from them in terms of momentum. And so I'm going to go Georgia Tech here. I like their offense a little bit better. I know Mason Heinschel is still a really good quarterback, and I really like Pitt, and they showed flashes against Notre Dame. But I think on the road against another ranked opponent, I think it's going to be tough for Pitt. So next up, we're going to go BYU at Cincinnati, a big game in the Big 12 for BYU. They better not drop this one. CJ, who do you got?
I think I'm going to go BYU just with the stakes they're playing at. If they drop this one, it's over.
Yep. That's why I'm going to go Cincinnati here. I think Cincinnati's they're a decent team in the Big 12, and I think at home, at Nippert, this could go either way, and I think BYU's to the level of play of Cincinnati to where this could go either way, and I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on them, and it's going to be interesting to see how they handle it, especially how they handled the Texas Tech game. So I think I'm going to go Cincinnati here just out of an abundance of caution of me not believing in BYU.
That's just another toss-up, dude. It
is. Next up, we've got Nebraska at Penn State. Who do you got here, CJ?
Just give me Penn State. I really love Dylan Royal, though. But just give me Penn State.
Give me Penn State. I think they've been on a I think they've had a bunch of close games this year, and I still think that they've got a good enough talent roster to get over the hump against Nebraska. And Dylan Royal is out, so I think it's going to be not easy for Penn State, but I think they'll pull it out. So, final game of the week to pick Florida at Tennessee. Who do you got, CJ?
Give me my balls. That's not a question, but I'm kind of scared. We haven't won in the swamp in a while.
I'll go Tennessee as well. I think, like you said, it's a very interesting stat of that Tennessee has not won in the swamp in 20 years. But I think if there's any year to do it with how bad Florida's been, I think that this could be the year for them. So I'm going to go Tennessee. Obviously, this week is kind of not a stack because a lot of teams are playing FCS opponents, but there are a couple good games in here that are key. But obviously, looking forward to rivalry week, the best week in the regular season for college football. So that'll be a treat. But yeah, that'll do us for the picks for this week. Anything else to add, CJ?
Shout out to the viewers. This is really fun.
I know. We've been getting a lot of attention here the last couple.
I know we get more
weeks.
attention when Trent's here than when it's all three of us. But Trent will be there next week. We'll all be in Knoxville. We'll do the corner there.
Yeah, we'll do scheduling for next week. I think for scheduling purposes, we will do a reaction show Friday to some of the games on Friday. I'm going to do a reaction show to some of the games from this upcoming week on Monday or Tuesday. Just because, once we get to Friday when we're all together, some of the games are already going to be played. So
yeah, the reason we can't do it on Wednesday or Thursday is because
Thanksgiving and stuff.
Yeah, so. Thanksgiving, and then we're driving. Yeah, well, I'm driving with Cooper down to.
So I think that would be probably the easiest if I just did a reaction, little quick 30-minute reaction to some of the games from this week, and then we make some predictions on Friday and talk about some of the games that happened on Friday, because Friday is going to be a good day as well. Georgia Tech.
I might hop on for
Texas A&M. So we'll see. CJ might pop up. You never know. Trent might pop up. You never know.
Don't count on that one.
Don't count on that one. But thank you all for watching. Make sure this Saturday, if you are in Clemson, I will be there for the Clemson Furman game. So if you're going to be there to watch it,
wow.
Make sure to come say hi. I'll be over in the corner next to the hill. So make sure to pull up if you're there and say hi. But
you and Diddy Steve going?
Yep, we are. So that'll be fun. So other than that, we'll see you guys next week. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. Make sure to go check out our Loudest Moments videos. And go go follow the Instagram and TikTok. That's where you'll get updates on stuff. So thank you all for watching this live. And we will see you guys next week.